Hello, everybody. Welcome back to High Indie Sports. I'm Ocean.
How's it? My name's John.
Ladies and gentlemen, the divisional weekend is over, and we are going to bring to you guys our reaction to the weekend. Talk about the games, talk about some of the finer details of what happened and players and maybe some bold predictions for next year and stuff. But then we're also going to talk about our predictions for this upcoming conference championship games this coming weekend, and maybe even a little bit more talk about the Super Bowl. But yeah, this one should be interesting. I think there's some hot takes that might be shared during this episode. So we'll kind of get right into it. We'll just talk about general thoughts on this weekend and how the four games went. Let's start with the first game. It was the Jaguars versus or sorry, not the Patriots. Jaguars versus the Chiefs. Um, what did you think about the game, John?
I actually thought it was a much better game than I thought it was going to be. Um,
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes hurt his ankle, but um, I'm not saying that made the game closer than I thought it was going to be, but I really enjoyed watching the game, actually. I think it might have been my favorite game, or maybe my second favorite game to watch over the weekend.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely one that I would put up way above that. But yeah, it was a fun game to watch, and it was surprising. It was surprising to see the
hmm
Jaguars be able to compete with the Chiefs. And yes, Patrick Mahomes went down, and I'm sure Chiefs fans will say that's the only reason why the Jaguars were able to keep up. But I don't think so. I think the Jaguars
Yeah.
proved to the world that they deserve to be in the playoffs, and that them them making it and them winning their division wasn't just a fluke. It wasn't just a product of their
Yeah.
crappy division. It was them earning it, and that they have a team that can compete at a high level. So we'll get into more on that in a later. But yeah, that game was fun. Second game of Saturday was the Giants Eagles game. Um, I'm really bummed about this game.
Yeah.
I know in our predictions that I had chose the Giants to upset the Eagles, and I was really hoping that they would. But man, they just like it felt like the Giants just didn't show up. You know,
Yeah, I
that's how I
actually,
feel.
as soon as it got to 14-0, I was like, "Yep, this game is going exactly the way I thought it was
Yeah.
going to go." I don't know. I didn't even watch the rest of it. I don't even really know what the final score was.
It was 38-7. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, ended up 38-7. So it did go how you predicted it. I was hoping that the Eagles with a week off would be a little sluggish, and then the
Mhm.
Giants riding the high of their win against the Vikings would take it to them. But yeah, just didn't work out. So, all right, Sunday. First game on Sunday was the Buffalo Bengals game. This
Yep.
game was man, what did you think about this game?
Um I obviously I chose the Bills to win, and I think the way that it went for me was I thought it was one of two things. Either there was so much hype and so much,
Mm,
expectations to win that it kind of just seemed like it was like the whole game it was just slipping from their fingers. Like
yeah,
everyone, even until the last 2 minutes, maybe like the last 4 minutes of the game, everyone was like, "Oh well, the Bills they're gonna come back." You know,
yeah.
the Bills they're
No,
gonna come back. They're gonna score. You know, and it just seemed like it one step ahead. And then the second thing was also that the Bengals flat out came to play, and that's
yeah.
the way that they've been the past however many games that they've won in a row. Is they flat out came to play, and Joe Burrow just looks like he's the man right now.
I think Joe Burrow has proven to me at least, because I had definitely had some reservations about Joe Burrow in the past, but he's proven to me that he's legit and that he's
hmm
gonna be around for a while. And I'm at the point now where I'm not gonna bet against Joe Burrow because he
Yeah.
is he is that guy. He's good. He is a very good quarterback. Um, but I was really bummed. I was really bummed,
Yeah.
um, and I do think that the game felt like the Bills fell behind and they just couldn't like grab anything to be able to
Yeah.
climb back into the game. Even when DeMar
Yeah.
Hamlin showed up to the stadium and they announced it in the stadium that he was there, like even that couldn't
Yeah.
save them. So, I'm bummed, but we can talk about actually, what I want to talk about real quick is what did you think of everything that came out after the game about Stephon Diggs and his reaction to the loss?
Um. What do you mean by reaction to the loss? Are you talking about him on the
So
sideline when he was talking
no,
to?
yeah, so there's that where he like right before they or when the game was ending, he like walked past Josh Allen and was like, "What the
Yeah.
hell, dude?" That, but I also have read many articles saying that as soon as the game was over, Stephon Diggs cleared out his stuff and left the facility without like talking to anybody.
I
So
didn't see any of that personally.
yeah,
Maybe it's because I'm just not haven't been on social media very much since then, just because
yeah,
it's school and stuff like that. But
right.
um, I mean, I understand. I mean, it's a little bit diva-ish, but I understand, man. I mean, he's the number
It's
one
the third
receiver, and
year.
yeah, it's the third year they've gone. It's been heartbreak every single year. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's what Josh Allen said about him. I think is a perfect thing. Is that he's a fiery competitor, and he doesn't like to lose. Like he wants to win.
yeah.
And like if you're Josh Allen, like if I had Stephon Diggs on my team, I've been trying to get him the ball in the biggest moments, and they just didn't in that
Right.
game. You know.
No,
Um,
you are right. And I think that might be frustrating for him, but I don't know. I what I'm trying to I guess figure out is it more than him just being upset about the loss and wanting to get away from the situation quickly so he can begin to move on from it or whatever, or is it him making a statement saying like, hey, like I might be done with this team, you know?
um, I think it's more of the first because for me, like when our season ended and the way that it ended, um,
Yeah.
this past season when we lost to a team that we really should have beaten. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, it was an away game, so it's a little bit different. But as
Right.
soon as I got back to the locker room, I cleared all my stuff out of my locker
Yeah.
and I didn't talk to nobody and left. And I'm not starting to say like, I was upset about losing because we
Right.
didn't have a great season to begin with. But I think sometimes it helps to like let you move forward when you just all right, you take the loss, you're upset, and let's just take it, let's just go grab our stuff and get out and move
Yeah.
forward. I think that's more of what it is, just off of my own experience. But also
Okay.
I know that in the NFL there are those diva receivers
Yeah.
who just are like, you know what, I'm done with you, I'm done with this team. But
Yeah.
I think the relationship that Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen have, and the what the Bills have given to Stephon Diggs, like in terms of, they made him the number one receiver. They gave him the money, like, and the
Yeah.
city of Buffalo. I think he has a lot of love, and that's why he's so emotional about it.
That's
Is
a
that
that's a
like
good
he's
way of looking at it.
yeah,
I haven't seen Stephon Diggs say anything yet about the situation, so I don't know.
yeah,
Like I'm waiting until something from him or someone closest to that situation can elaborate. But
yeah.
all right. Well, let's move on to the final game of the weekend, the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. And what happened, Cowboys?
You mean the
What happened to
49ers?
this? No, what happened, Cowboys? What oh, what did I
No,
say?
because you said Buccaneers versus
Oh
Cowboys,
crap.
but
All right.
49ers Cowboys.
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened? What happened
What
to this
happened?
being your year? What happened to you guys finally getting over the stigma of choking in the playoffs? What happened to
Yeah.
being the best team in the NFC? Yeah, you're all a bunch of liars, and I saw right through it from the very beginning. So I am so happy that the 49ers beat them. I'm so happy that they beat them. And we'll talk about a little bit of the finer things about that that game. But oh man, it was great to watch the Cowboys suck. It was great to watch Dak Prescott suck, and like yeah, I get that they're all got real human beings, and I don't wish ill on
Yeah.
anybody, but man, it felt good to watch the Cowboys lose.
Yeah, um I thought it was the probably the best game of the weekend.
Oh yeah, it was
Um
mostly just because
it's
I get to
to
watch the
me
Cowboys lose.
to me it's kind of maybe like it's a throw up between whoa, that's a weird thing to say. It's a toss up between
Yeah,
between the 49ers Cowboys game and the Chiefs Jags because like I know people they always want the underdog to win, so watching the
yeah.
Jags give the Chief a little bit of grief was like, "Oh wow, this is nice." But I think it was hard to watch until the end of the Cowboys 49ers game where the 49ers kind of just took over,
Yeah.
cuz there were some times I was watching it I was like, "Man, the Cowboys are doing things to the 49ers I haven't seen people anybody do to them all year." And
No,
yeah,
they did. It wasn't a dominating performance, but yeah, you're right. The Cowboys did
yeah,
have some flashes.
right. So that's something that concerns me about the 49ers is like, okay, they got their tough game, the tough gritty game. They proved that they can win that game. But what I'm concerned about is uh what are like the holes that the Cowboys were able to find to make it a close
Yeah.
game when I think it shouldn't have been a close game to begin with. The Cowboys made those holes look like they just been doing things they did all year. And yes, Dak did his thing and threw the game away and just sucked at towards the end of the game. But there were some points in the
Mhm.
game I was like, man, Dallas is driving down. Like the first touchdown they scored, I was like, bro, nobody's done that to the 49ers this year. Well, at least
Uh,
since like the last second half of the I
yeah, I
mean, and
mean,
like
since they
the
went
way
on
they
their
scored in
their
like
win
six
streak.
plays and
No, I think you're right. I think we're used to the 49ers being able to control every aspect of the game.
right.
But what I think we're seeing is that the 49ers are standing up to the test of the postseason, right? The
Yeah,
postseason is the best teams in the NFL,
right.
right? And the Cowboys, they deserve to be in the playoffs. They deserve to be there. They beat the Buccaneers. I'm not gonna try and pretend that they shouldn't have won that game. They beat the Buccaneers. They deserve to be in the divisional round. And it was a test. It was a test to see if the 49ers were riding some kind of momentum high or if they actually have the talent and the coaching
Mhm.
and the game plan to be able to win high level games. And I think they proved that this weekend. And I think
Yeah,
that they
I would agree with
proved
that.
that Brock Purdy is good enough to win those games. Whether or not Brock Purdy is the long term answer, I personally think is still up to be decided. But he did all right. Like he
Mhm.
didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't have any like crazy moments. He just kind of steadied the ship, and he made some rookie mistakes, but everybody does. And I think that the 49ers are what this game is going to do is give the 49ers the confidence that hey, even if things get tough, we can still grind it out. Even
Yeah.
if things don't go our way and the game plan that we have set up prior to doesn't pan out right, we'll still be able to grind it out and make it get a W. You know?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I just have a little bit of a concern when they're gonna, in my opinion, they're gonna go face a better offense than that and a more balanced offense than, especially since
Yeah,
Tony Pollard got hurt. But you're right. They stood their test. They proved that they could do it. It's only going to give them more confidence going into it.
yeah.
And let's be fair, the Eagles had an easy test. They didn't. They really didn't get tested. You know,
No,
if anything,
no,
it was kind of like a
I
warm
don't
up
think
game.
so. Yeah, yeah, I don't think so. All right, so we've given our general thoughts about the weekend. It was a fun weekend. It was, it's playoff football. It's
Yep.
exciting to watch. Now I want to do something a little bit different here that we haven't done yet, and we're gonna call this like the hot take section, right? So throughout the weekend, as I was watching the games, I wrote down some notes as I was watching, and I had some thoughts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you something, and I'm going to read you my thought, and then I'm going to let you react to it, okay, and give your thoughts.
Okay.
And we'll try to keep this not like, don't try and we're not trying to like get into a lengthy debate. It's just me putting out my hot take, and you can either agree
Yep.
or say something to refute it. Okay. All right. Um, Christian Kirk deserved his ridiculous contract that we all thought was insane at the beginning of the year.
I agree. Um,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily. I don't know. Can't sit here and say he deserved all of it, but he doesn't. He didn't deserve the slack that he got for, or the hate that he got for it.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with your
Yeah.
statement.
I think he deserves what he got. Um, to Doug Peterson should be the coach of the year.
I think he's definitely probably up there. It's hard. It's hard to take away. I think that there's some other coaches. I think obviously it's funny. Actually, you know what? I think Doug Peterson probably should be head coach
Mhm.
of the year. If not, I think it probably goes to the head coach for the Bengals. Um, I forgot his name. Zach something, I think.
Uh, Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor,
Isn't
yeah.
that his name?
I think
Yeah.
it could go to him. And I think it also could go to Mike Shanahan. Yeah, Mike Shanahan. Um,
Okay.
and if I had to
Yeah,
guess,
I see it.
I think Nick Sirianni is probably going to be up in the conversation, even though I don't agree personally. But just because the Eagles had such a good record year, and
Yeah.
um, they have they got a lot of benefit out of a lot of people that
Yeah.
they didn't really think was going to be that much of a thing. I think it's probably between Nick Sirianni, Mike Shanahan, not is it? No, Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle
Yes.
Shanahan. Um, and Zach Taylor, but I think Doug Peterson should be head coach of the year.
I believe that he will get it. Or I believe he deserves it the most. All right. Moving on from that game. Um, as far as the Eagles and Giants game goes, Hassan Reddick was the Eagles' best offseason move, better than AJ Brown.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he had a breakout year after having a breakout year like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, I think you saw that quote of the defense coordinator who said, "If I didn't have
Mm.
him dropping back in coverage so much, he probably would have had 25 sacks or something like that."
I did not
Um,
see that quote, but I think Hassan Reddick's impact is not just in the sacks, but his run stuffing, his
yeah,
pressures, everything. I think he's the best move that the Eagles made, and it's even better than the surprise AJ Brown trade.
yeah. I think it's good. They didn't pay him a crazy amount of money either. Um,
No, that not
but yeah, I agree. I think it might have been their best off-season move. Uh, for their
okay.
yeah, I guess their defense. I don't know. I feel like the offense is a lot different with AJ Brown. Maybe not his actual stats and what he brought to the team, but having a number one wide receiver allowed the Eagles to actually throw the ball a lot more and not rely so much on Jalen Hurts' ability to run the ball. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, they're
I agree with that, but I think that there's when you talk about it in that regard, there's more that has to go into AJ Brown succeeding. Like AJ Brown's success is dependent on Jalen Hurts' success and dependent on the offensive
right.
line success and the play calling success. Hassan Reddick's success was his own, and that's what I'm comparing. I'm comparing
Well, I guess
their
I don't think you could really
personal
say it's
impact.
only his own because it could
No,
depend on the
I no,
opposite team stuff too.
it's a little bit. I mean, but it's more up to him. His ability to impact a game by himself is higher than AJ Brown's, and so that's why I think his impact was more. On the other side of the ball, though, I believe Saquon is officially back, and deserves a new contract. And I think he deserves um, top of the league money, like 16, like 15, $16 million a year.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get that from the Giants. Um,
I don't know
I
that
don't
it's going
see
to come
them
from
letting
the
him go.
Giants. I don't know because I saw an article this morning saying that the Giants offered him $12 million a year, and he turned it down, and that
Yeah,
he's
but
full. He's
I just don't see the Giants letting him walk. I think the likelihood is if they can't if they can't agree on a contract, they're gonna franchise tag him, and if he won't
yeah,
play, then he's just not gonna play. I don't see the
yeah.
Giants, especially with what he
You're
did this season. I
yeah.
don't see them letting him go.
He was the only bright spot of that team on that day. Anytime he touched the ball, he did whatever he possibly could to produce and contribute to the team, and unfortunately he couldn't do it all himself.
Yeah.
Uh Dexter Lawrence did not play at an all pro level in this game.
No, he did not have a good game.
No.
He did not.
Now I don't think that should wipe away his all pro honors. I think he deserves it for his season, but I just wanted to, since we've had the discussion about how good he is, I just think he kind of got worked this game.
Yeah,
Uh
he definitely did. He did not have his best game of the season.
Yeah, which it happens. All right, since you mentioned Nick Sirianni earlier, Nick Sirianni is the exact opposite of what an NFL head coach should be. He is arrogant and boastful. There's a difference between being excited for your team and celebrating a score, and then staring down a camera after a touchdown, nodding like you're a showman. Let the players be the showman and let the coaches be sportsmen. It's ridiculous that you have a head coach acting like a diva on the sideline, and and it to me it sets a horrible example for players and for what a head coach should be. I think we've talked about it in the past, but I cannot stand the way that he acts on the sideline. I think it's horrible.
I think see this is my perception has changed a little bit. Um I do agree that the way that he is acting to me is ridiculous. But something, and I know you said let the players be the showman and stuff like that, but something that George Kittle actually said yesterday, um, he was, when he stuck his tongue out after the play and stuff
Mm,
like that, he said that he's just trying to make it good for a good show. He's trying to get the TV
yeah,
ratings up. Like he wasn't saying that, oh, that's my personality, that's what I'm gonna do. Now,
yeah.
here's the difference though. Nick Sirianni is probably that is his personality. I can't say for sure because I don't know the dude.
Right, we
I
don't
haven't
know
heard
him.
any bad things from other coaches where he's been disrespectful to them, or I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything. Um, and I agree with your statement that the coaches shouldn't be the spotlight. It should be the players, right? They shouldn't be the show. But from my
I don't think
perception,
they
that's
should be
kind of
the
what
spot.
Philly.
No, go ahead, go
Oh
ahead.
no, sorry. No, I was gonna say I just think that's what Philly is. Philly is the arrogant, boastful
Yeah.
teams, or at least Philadelphia, the Eagles. They've always been that way. They've always been
Mm,
the arrogant team, and I think having a leader, maybe it's not something that I agree with or that I like, but the leader to follow in what the organization, in my opinion, has always been. But if that's what gets their players motivated, if that's what gets the team to play their best, then I don't agree with it. But if that's what the coach got to do, then that's what the coach got to do.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think I don't think that's a acceptable to me for this situation because when you have players that have these antics and these outward personalities, like I it's different because their job is to perform on a field, right? A coach's job is to lead by example and to shape the team into a into a productive team on the field, but it's your team is also supposed to maintain an example and an image, right? Like,
Right.
um, even for like if we just talk about it in the most basic of terms, like or kids watching the games, like the teams are meant to be an example for these kids, and when you see players doing it on the field, it's a different thing than when you're watching a coach who's supposed to be the rock or the example for everybody doing it. And I just don't agree that it should be accepted. I don't think a head coach should be using his using motivating his players as a reason to act the way he does. And it to me it bleeds into his play calling and the things that he does. During that game, there was a couple times where they had like fourth and something, and they would try and just they would line up on the ball and try to get the Giants to jump. And in my head there's like I there's no reason. It was like, well, why are you doing this? Like I'm pretty sure one time they were on like they were in their oh they're in the red zone. Like they had like it was like fourth and five, and they were just sitting down there trying to get the Giants to jump off sides. And there's a difference when you're behind or the game is close and you're trying to, catch them off the ball. But like when you're up by a crap ton of points and you're gonna kick a field goal anyway, just kick the field goal and move on. Stop trying to do all these ridiculous antics just to try and make your team look a little bit better. And there's to me there's a humility aspect to that. And I get that you're saying the Eagles are that's just who they are, but I just don't. It's not acceptable to me as a professional level sports team.
Right. So I agree with everything that you're saying. Like I don't think it's right. I don't think it's acceptable. But to me, and the way that I look at it is that I don't think that it is their job I don't think that it's a coach's job to be a perfect role model for kids. I think that it's a coach's job to get their team to the best position that they can possibly get on the field and take care of their players off the field. But if you're saying that it's a coach's job to be a role model or to be a good example for people watching on screen, then I don't necessarily agree with that because you could say the same thing about players, and there's players who get arrested, and especially with social media now, like how I could tell you how many 5-year-old or 8-year-old kids who knew about Henry Ruggs who got drunk and drove in a car at 150 miles per hour, right? And he got punished for that, right? So I
Yeah.
see what you're saying, and he got punished for that. But I don't think it's an expectation for most people to be this great role model. It's their expectation to go win football games, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that for whatever reason, that is probably the way that he feels that he best motivates his players, or his players respond best to that kind of boastfulness and being different from everyone else. I mean, look at Kansas City. Kansas City does a whole bunch of unnecessary eccentric stuff. Like do you remember the play when they did the ring around the rosy
Yeah.
before the play?
Yeah.
Like there were so many
Yeah. I
people,
don't.
even defensive linemen on the other team, who said like they wanted to go and punch them. You know,
Yeah, and
or
I
like a few
agree.
years
I
ago.
don't think it's okay. Like
Right.
I would say the same thing about that situation. The only difference is that Andy Reid is not sitting on the sideline yelling at fans, telling them to shut up and stuff. Uh that's the difference. And I'm not trying to say that it's a coach's sole job to be an example for kids or be an example for people that are watching. All I'm saying is that when you're at the level that you're at and you have the platform that you have and you have the screen time that you have to be aware of these things. You have to be. To me, it's not excusable to just be like, oh, well, I'm just trying to get my guys to do the best that they can.
Well, I
it's
think he
not
just
a good
doesn't
enough
care.
excuse.
Like
No,
I
I
don't think he
it
cares
probably
because it doesn't affect him. You
yeah,
know?
but it's ridiculous. It's accountability. But whatever. We can move on from this subject. We'll go to the next game of the Bengals and the Bills. My hot take for one of the hot takes I have is that Buffalo is not built for Buffalo. They this game showed how handicapped their offense is by running everything through Josh Allen. When it comes to like Buffalo the city is known for their harsh weather and their cold and being brutal. And Josh, not saying Josh Allen isn't, but I think this game showed that because the Bills had like no rushing attack and had no ability to move the ball on the ground, that it really hurt them and it really handicapped their offense and their ability to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's been the Bills' issue for the past three
Yeah,
years. Really, is that they have no running game. That's the reason why
yeah.
they drafted, um, whatever the guy. Who is Dalvin Cook's brother's name? I can't remember his name.
Jordan Cook.
Is it Jordan?
Jordan Cook. Yeah. I'm like 90% sure it's Jordan Cook.
Well, that's the reason why they drafted him, and that's the reason why they traded for Naeem Hines is to have more
Or James
dynamic
Cook. It's James
James
Cook.
Cook, more people to come, more dynamic people in the backfield, but it just hasn't worked. I mean,
Well,
James Cook is
their
not the
play
running
calling
back.
is just not. It's just not working. Um, and then another hot take I had, and we talked about this many times on the podcast, but the refs just have too much control, and there's no accountability. There was a play when the Bengals were in their own red zone, and there should have been a delay of game penalty called, and if it had been called, it would have wiped 7 points off of the board, and I think it
Hmm.
would have changed the trajectory of the game and could have opened the door for the Bills to be able to to win the game. And I don't understand why delay of the game can't be a reviewable thing because it's a finite thing, right? Like
Yeah,
you have a clock, and if it's zero, it's delay of the game. So I don't understand why it can't be something that we can look at and be like, hey, did you get the ball off in time? If not, play didn't count. 5 yards back. Bye, and move on.
yeah,
So that's just another one of
yeah.
my
I think that
ticks.
I think that I hope that with all the players, and I'm sure the NFLPA is going to say something or is starting to say something. I think hopefully we'll see some kind of change this off season.
Yeah, we'll see
Um,
what that is though.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
But honestly, if
Uh,
it's affecting the players so much, like there's a chance, like it's a hot take chance that we could see a strike
mm,
because if it's me and
yeah,
like my season, I
you're
just lost my
Joey
season
Bosa.
over a dumb play. Yeah,
Yeah.
like over a dumb call or a dumb no call or whatever, and my season got ended
Mm-hmm.
because of it. Then of course I'm like, okay, well then why would I even play this game even if I'm
Yeah.
doing it the best that I can possibly do? And people say, oh, don't leave it up to the refs, don't leave it up to the refs. But at this point, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you
No.
leave it up to the refs.
I think that
You know?
argument is invalid now because of the level of control that the refs have. It was different 5-10 years ago when the rules and stuff were different. Now refs are like in the off season they have conference or they have like meetings saying like, oh, we're gonna put an emphasis on this penalty this year. It's like why? Why
Yeah.
why? That's such a dumb thing to me. Shouldn't all penalties be called when they're there? Like, why are you going to put an
Right.
emphasis on this penalty but not the others? It's the
Yeah.
stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
I don't remember which commentator said it this weekend, but somebody said it. I was watching the TV and somebody said that the reason why the NFL refs are so bad is because the best refs that the NFL have are in sports booths because they get paid more.
Mm,
Like Gene Steratore and the other guy who was
yeah.
on I don't even know the channels
I don't
at this
remember their
point.
name. I know who you're talking about. It's the guys that they like refer to when they're looking
Right,
at reviews and they're like, "Oh, what do you
right.
think?" Yeah.
And they're right. The best refs, that the people who get the calls right or who openly disagree with refs on screen, those are
Yeah.
the people who are the best suited for the job. But they get paid, I'm sure, much more.
Yeah. Oh, they get paid way
Uh,
more, guarantee. I just,
right,
me personally, I think it's just a matter of that the refing system that we have is outdated. Like we need either more refs on the field because refs are not able to keep track of all of their responsibilities. Like one ref is not physically able to look at all five offensive linemen and see if there's holding on every play. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, so we either need to have more refs on the field or we need to utilize the technology that we have better. And right
yeah.
now we're not.
It's
And
just,
the
how do you,
expectation is that players need to be perfect, but the
right,
refs can miss shit.
right. I understand that, but how do you add more refs? Which I'm sure if you add
I
more
don't
refs,
know.
or if you add more reviewable things, how are you going to do that without slowing the game down more? Because inherently, even though like a lot of missed calls or a lot of bad calls will be called, inherently the total amount of flags per game will
Mm,
rise if we do that. So how do you go like that? Because nobody wants to watch a game where it seems like every play there's a flag thrown, and
no,
it delays the game and delays the game. So how do you where's the balance? Like, if you add all these
I don't know
things,
what that is. I don't know where the
right?
balance is. I don't know how to balance it out. I don't. But the way it is now is not working. So they need to do
Yeah,
something, try something, and like like how everything works, trial and error, right? Try something.
right.
If it doesn't work, pull it back, or scale back, or try something different. So uh, yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I can't give you that answer, but I what I can tell you is that that is not an excuse for not trying something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we gotta be able to do try something and then work from there if it's not working.
Yeah.
So
The
all right,
only issue is there's millions of dollars in the balance, which
right,
is
and
not necessarily a good
that's
excuse, but
no, but it's gonna complicate things. So I
yeah.
get it. But let's move on to the last game. I got a couple hot takes. Number one, Fred Warner is the best linebacker in football, and I don't think anybody will be able to make a case for anybody else.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Um I think he is sometimes uh I'm surprised with the stuff that he gets away with compared to other players with the way he
His
talks. Like, I don't
yeah,
know, I'm not going to say he's a disrespectful guy. I don't think he's a disrespectful guy. Seems cool. He's really good in
yeah.
Madden. But
He's really good at Madden.
I think that the stuff that I'm very surprised with the stuff that he gets away with. There's so many times where he'll
Yeah,
he'll jump and hit a player with the crown of his helmet, and I'll be like, no call. All right. Um, but I don't disagree that he's physically and in the game the best middle
yeah.
linebacker in the game right now.
No, I think he bar none. And then on the other side of the ball, and I'm not really too keen on giving Cowboys, any love, but I think Dalton Schultz may be the best tight end in the NFC.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to disagree with that. I mean,
Yeah,
not
I
too many
think
great tight ends in the NFC besides George Kittle, but
from what I saw during this game, I mean, yeah, George Kittle had that incredible catch where it was bobbling and hit him in the face and stuff, and I think
yeah,
George Kittle is the only person you could really make an argument for. But if I were like looking at stuff, and ever since you had brought him up when we talked about the best people at their positions, Dalton
right,
Schultz is Dalton Schultz just seems to anytime he's the target of the play or involved in the play, he seems to just always do his job and
right,
always be where he needs to be and always catch the ball.
right. I
That rushing
actually,
touchdown that Dak had was
right.
purely because Dalton Schultz did his job and was a good lead blocker.
Yeah, I
So
agree. It's funny that you say that he always does his job because he actually there's one play that was a big play in the game too where he didn't make a catch because he didn't put his second foot in
yeah,
bounds.
yeah. No, you're right. That is a but it's an outlier to me, and, like, I can't really
Yeah.
give him too much shit because he's a tight end, and
Yeah.
tight ends aren't known for toe tapping the sidelines, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, you are right that
Unless you're
he
Jordan
did
Reed.
do that. Yeah. Yeah. And then, the last one that I really have, that we'll get into is just the Cowboys' final play was the dumbest last-ditch effort play that I have ever seen in my entire life, and I have watched hundreds, if not thousands, of football games, and it was the
Yeah.
stupidest last-ditch effort play I've ever seen.
Yeah, I actually really liked the idea where they had offensive linemen on the outside so that they can have like
Yeah,
to me the concept
create
was
a
nice.
screen, yeah.
Right. The concept was nice, but why was Zeke the center? First of all,
Yeah.
you know that Zeke is. You know that if you're gonna put Zeke on the line and make him take those steps, anybody on the field is gonna bull rush him,
Oh, yeah,
and that means Dak is gonna have no time to make a
right.
throw. Right. So that's the first person. And then why are you gonna throw it to the inside person? Which
Yeah.
yes, the
Who
inside
is the
person.
farthest up the field? Like,
Right.
what?
You're going to throw it to the inside person. And granted, inside is most open in that situation, like the immediate inside, but he threw it 10 or like 10 yards down the field. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you throw that 2 yards down the field and then you get your one of your skill players behind two or three offensive linemen, and that's not a bad idea, to be
That's what
honest with
I
you.
thought they were gonna do. What I thought they were gonna do was swing like, I thought he was gonna put somebody in motion and swing them out to the right side of the field where there was, like, 4 offensive linemen out there, and then
Right.
throw a bubble screen and just hope that they're able to kinda clear it out, and then maybe, Dak will hang back to be there for the lateral if they're gonna end up playing the lateral game, but, like, literally, he took the snap, Zeke got absolutely demolished by Al-Shazir, and then he, like, just threw the ball to Turpin, who was like the
Yeah.
last choice that you should have made, in my opinion. And it just goes to
Yeah.
show that, in my opinion, Dak Prescott should not be the future of the quarterback for of the Cowboys at quarterback.
I
I think
have
he
one
he
hot
should be
take
done.
for you.
Yeah.
I
All
have one
right. Go
hot
ahead.
take for you. And this might be the hottest take of all the hottest takes today. I think that after watching the game on Sunday morning, I think the Bills are going to fall apart next season.
Oh wow,
I'm
interesting.
not saying that they're going to be the worst team in the league, but I think the Bills are going to fall apart next season. Which is
Interesting.
crazy cuz I thought the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought so too. I really did. Um, I don't know that I see that happening. Because the Bills were very unhealthy coming into this game, missing a lot of pieces, and then during the game, a lot of people got hurt. So I think that the Bills will be all right next season. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think the Bills are gonna end up in a similar situation to this year. They're gonna do well during the season, and then maybe somewhere in the postseason it ends for them. But I don't see them falling apart. But you know, we've seen crazier things happen. We watched the Jaguars win a postseason game after being the worst team in the NFL the year prior. So
2 years prior, back to back
yeah,
worst.
yeah, back
Yeah.
to back years. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Let's quickly go through predictions for this upcoming weekend. We got two games. The first game is the oh geez. Let me look this up.
Well, before we do
Okay.
that, let's go over what our record is.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. So um
We were both 4-2 after wild card
yeah.
weekend, right?
And
Four
then
and
the
two.
first game of the weekend, I think we both chose the Chiefs, right?
Yep, both chose the Chiefs,
Yeah, so
so
we're
that
both
makes us
five and
both five and
two.
two.
I chose the Giants, you chose the Eagles, I believe.
Yep. So I'm six and
And
two.
so you're 6 and 2, I'm 5 and 3. I think we both chose the Bills.
Yep.
So
So that makes me six
I'm
and
five and
three.
four. You're 6-3, and then we
and then we
both
both
chose the
chose the
49ers.
49ers.
So you're 7-4, and I'm
I'm
6 and
7-3.
5.
You're 6-4.
Yeah, 7-3, 6-4. All right. So conference championships this upcoming weekend. The first game is Sunday at 10 a.m. And it's going to be the 49ers versus the Eagles. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna ride with the 49ers, man. I think that
Yeah.
the Eagles are gonna be their biggest test. Um, did you see the tweet that was on Twitter that came out like 2015 or 2016 of the guy predicting like the next 10 Super Bowl
No,
winners? And
no,
so
I
far
didn't.
he's got every one of them right up until
What?
this year. And the team that he said was going to win this year is the Eagles. So, no thank you, 49ers, do
Yeah.
your thing. Go get that victory.
Yeah. I think the 49ers win that game. So I'm taking the 49ers. All right. Second game is going to be at 1:30 on Sunday, and it's the Bengals versus the Chiefs. Who are you taking?
I got to
I mean, obviously, the biggest
this
question
is
is
so
whether or
hard.
not biggest question is whether or not Patrick Mahomes is playing. And I
I
think
think he
Patrick
will.
Mahomes is going to play no matter what. So
Yeah. I think I got to go Bengals, man. I got to go Bengals.
oh, okay. I'm gonna go Chiefs. I think that if Patrick Mahomes plays, I think the Chiefs will pull it out because nobody can guard Travis Kelsey. Nobody can stop him. So as long as somebody can get the ball to Travis Kelsey, the Chiefs would be all right. But I could see the Bengals winning too. But yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna go Chiefs, and we'll see. So as far as your Super Bowl goes, your Super Bowl is gonna be 49ers Bengals. Who
Yep.
you got winning the Super Bowl as of
It's
right now?
crazy to think. It's crazy to think that. I mean, assuming the 49ers win, that either way, it's going to be a repeat Super Bowl of
Yeah.
something. Um, man, I don't. it's hard. I don't see the 49ers being able to stop Joe Burrow. And I know they have this
Mm,
great defense, but Joe Burrow right now just seems like he's on a different world. Um,
mm,
so I think as of right now, based off of what I've seen in the past 2 weeks,
mhm.
I think the Bengals are going to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl, assuming that my
Interesting.
predictions were right.
Okay. My Super Bowl is 49ers Chiefs, and I think it's a repeat of,
A few
what was
years
that,
ago, yeah.
2019 or 2020? One of the years.
I think it was
I'm going
19.
49ers.
Yeah.
I'm going 49ers to take it all, and that's what I said last week. I said it was going to be 49ers Bills, but I'm
Yep.
taking the 49ers overall, and I'm sticking with it. I think the 49ers get their sixth championship this year. I think it's six.
Sixth. I
So
think it's six, yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's six. So yeah, I think they got it. I think that defense is good enough to beat anybody. So all right. Well, that's all I got for you today, buddy. We're caught up on playoff stuff, and
Yep.
we'll look forward to finding out whether or not our predictions come true, and if I have a
Yeah, I
chance
agree.
of your catching your record. Not
I
a whole lot
just
of
have
games left.
I just have one thing. I am literally praying that it's not a Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl because
Uh,
I don't know. I would watch it just because it's the Super Bowl, but I don't
yeah,
know,
it wouldn't
man.
be a
That might be
very
the worst Super Bowl I've ever watched.
yeah, it'd be a really
So,
toxic Super Bowl. So yeah. All
anyways,
right.
yeah.
Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Uh, thank you to everybody watching. Thank you guys for all the love and support recently. We got another episode coming out later this week, so stay tuned for that. And as
Yep.
as always, check out our take and Diamond in the Roughs episodes that have come out recently. Some good ones. So appreciate you guys. Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media links down in the description below. Catch you guys on the next episode.
Deuces.